Naval and Historical Museum for our exhibit, the Purim closing of the Jewish people, stories, voices, visions, a multimedia art exhibit. That's a mouthful, but I want to start by giving thanks to Miss Asghari Sawande, who was inspired to ask Susan George to help put on this event, and that's where they started. The whole community came together. It's really exciting. I want to thank all the people on the program here. So let's see, that's going to be artists. I mentioned them. You want to come up and MC? All right. We got the artists: Naomi Stein Cooper, Nikki Bosch Davis, Diana Estrin, Karen Pierce Gonzalez. We got Shoshana Nurek, Toby Tover, and Juliana Wise. And there are artists all over the room. Give the artists a round of applause. I also want to thank our sponsors, Chabad of Solano County, Congregation B'nai Israel, Shemena, Jews Indigenous to the Middle East and North Africa, Jewish Democratic Club of Solano County, and I also want to thank our donors, whose list I don't have here, but I can tell you, it's on the back. Oh, good, that helps. Okay, yeah. So I want to thank our Queen Esther Circle of donors. You know, we didn't have many, and we got what we needed. We got Chabad of Solano County, Congregation of Israel, Tina Miller, thank God, Rebbe Soul, who's going to be here later for some fantastic music. So try to be here try to still be here when he gets here. And we have Jerome, University of California. Okay, guys. So with that said, let's get into the program a little bit. Today is Purim. Purim is an incredible Jewish holiday. It's wild, it's exciting. And what a time to celebrate Purim it is. Purim celebrates the triumph of the Jewish people over oppression, over people who wanted to destroy us millennia ago. And today, we are still here. We are the living ancestors of those people who survived. And it's so important to be here today with our community to continue to experience and to provision that Jewish pride into the world, because that's the pride that keeps us safe. That, with our values, with our community, having people come around us, this is the thing that keeps us safe. So today, we're not just celebrating Purim, we're enacting it. We're living it. And I want to thank you guys all for coming right now. In a moment, we're going to read the Purim story. It's going to be a lot of Hebrew, but there's a couple of words you should know, okay? So there's going to be some good guys, there's going to be a major bad guy, all right? So it's right. So when we say the names, let's start with the names. You're going to hear the names Mordechai, who's one of the good ones. You're going to hear about Queen Esther. And you're going to hear about the hideous villain Haman. Are you guys sure you know what to do when you hear the names? Let's test it one time. Mordecai. Queen Esther. Haman. And the last one, Susan George. She's not even a story, but I'm just throwing that in there for bonus points for later. That was for me. Thank you. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mendel. Does everyone have a copy of the Megillah? No? Yeah, make sure that you're sharing. While we're dispersing that, I'm going to tell a quick story. So, I'm sure you guys know that Hitler was a book burner, but the #1 book that he went after was the story of Esther, the story of Queen Esther, because it represented the triumph of the Jews, not in Jerusalem, but in the diaspora, and how they were able to come together and unite to defeat evil that was trying to oppress them. Hitler was terrified of this book, so just remember that when you're having a great time reading it. Without further ado, I want to introduce Mendel Zaklos from Chabad of Solano County, the firstborn son of Rabbi Zaklos. Right? Firstborn son of Rabbi Zaklos. Come on over here, young man. What a mensch. We're so fortunate to have him.
customs by reading the Megillah. There's as Matthew mentioned, the times that we shake the graggers, and there's also there's a few places in the Megillah where it's very happy verses and verses. It's called verses of redemption. So in those few places in the Megillah, which I'll stop so everybody could say the verses together. It's so everybody says those verses. There's one in chapter 2, 2 in chapter 8, one in chapter 10, and like a whole paragraph in chapter 9. And then there's also the importance of hearing every single word of the Megillah. That every word should be listened to and paid attention to, so that we actually end up we could fulfill our obligation to the Megillah. So
ready to be who you are. What are the blessings?
So I'm gonna call up Matthew to say the
blessings. Okay, where are they?
They're not on here.
They're not on here? I didn't memorize it. Does Rabbi Google know where the blessings are?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
As you can see, we came prepared. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'tzal v'tzivanu al nikra Megillah, which means, blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us with the commandments and commanded us concerning the reading of the Megillah.
And when he says the blessing,
It's customary for people to say Amen.
And everybody have in mind that you fill their obligation of the Megillah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisi l'avotenu bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who performed miracles for our forefathers in those days and at this time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'hechianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu l'zman hazeh. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. Amen. Together.
Amen.
It's gonna be a long one, guys. Buckle in.
King Ahasuerus, he reigned in the kingdom of Cush, and he had 27 separate provinces. And he wanted to have a huge banquet for all of his servants in Persia, Media, the nobles, princes, and the provinces. And they literally ate for 180 days. So this was a pricey banquet. It's more than what we put out. But not much more, because it's kosher food, so within a month. And they have white, fine cotton, blue embroidered cords of linen, silver rods. They go on to talk about all this. Gold, silver on pavement, sick brag. Importantly, the Megillah mentions that nobody was coerced to drink. So there was no arm twisting, but it sounds like there was plenty of drinking. Now, he had a queen Vashti at this time, and she was a beautiful woman and thought to be an incredible dancer. There's also a rumor that she had a tail. That's not in the Megillah, but it's thought that she had a tail. Yeah. And the king asked her to do a dance for everybody. You know, it's Persia, so I assume it's like a very erotic, you know, I'm not going to do the dance. The sages comment that, more or less, the reason she didn't do the dance is she had a tail. A long tail. Not as long as the Megillah, as tails go, but a long tail. Oh, and she was not supposed to be wearing clothes, but there's kids here. dance, and the king, being kind of a chauvinist, said, all right, well, this isn't working out. So this is a very good time for men to know that if your wife wants you to dance, it's only fair. What shall be done with Queen Vashti? What are we going to do about this situation? And it was unfortunate for Vashti, who is regarded by many as a feminist symbol, that she had done wrong for not dancing. Because this may start giving women ideas. They can say no to dancing. Who do they think they are, these women? So we get a little bit of insight into the king, because he's so upset about this that he issues an order that all women have to listen to their husbands after this, and it goes out to the entire kingdom. Talk about male fragility.
Oh, come on. Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Havirat Ushmo Vidar Mordechai Ben Yair Ben Shmi Ben Ish Yemini. I'm doing it for you. There was a Jewish man in the capital of Shushan whose name was Mordechai. I hear you can make a living there. And even exiled from Jerusalem. You're never going to believe who kicked him out of Jerusalem. It's actually the same kingdom that he's in. You know? So, what is it? Esther? Queen Esther! Queen Esther! And it was Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, who had exiled the Jews. But at this point we had Esther and Mordecai. Mordecai had raised Esther. And she was supposed to be very beautiful. And the king at this point had asked that all the women come to the court because he's looking for a new wife, you know? One that's really going to listen to him. And for some reason, he finds a Jewish woman and thinks that's going to be the case. Now Esther, at this point, things are kind of iffy for the Jews. She didn't really talk much about being Jewish. As far as the king was concerned, she was a nice, goodish girl. But Mordecai told her, kind of keep your head down. Don't mention the fact that you're Jewish. Play your position, right? Here they talk about Queen Esther's beauty treatments, which is like 12 months of oils and treatments, and we should have had a spa sponsor this thing. Esther gets the inside line from the king's chamberlain. Yeah.
The king is so delighted that he does his favorite thing. After 180 days of a banquet, the king decides they're going to have another banquet. In those days, Mordecai would sit by the king's gate, probably awaiting word from Esther. Is everything okay? One of the king's guards became angry and decided he was going to whack the king. And when Mordecai found out, he did what anyone should do. Snitch immediately. And those guards, they were publicly hung for trying to kill the king. Trying to find out where we are. So now at this point, the king promotes a guy named Haman, the son of... The guy is an Agagite. That matters. And if you're a biblical scholar, there's reasons that matters, but we're not going to get into that just yet. But he sets Haman above all the princes. I guess Mordecai kind of knew him from high school or something because everyone's bowing to Haman. Mordecai won't do it. Haman was pretty mad about Mordecai. He was so mad that he said, "What is that guy?" Finds out he's a Jew. And then Haman says, "There ain't gonna be no more Jews." The bad guy, who I can't say his name anymore because you'll lose it. The bad guy says to the king, and this is important because this is basically what anti-Semitism is. So listen. There is Haman. He says there is a certain people scattered and separate among the peoples throughout all the provinces of your kingdom, and their laws are different from other people, and they do not keep the king's law. It is therefore of no use to the king to let them be. So he says, if it pleases the king, let it be written to destroy them, he says. And I will weigh out 10,000 talents, silver talents, into the hands of those Haman. I will lay out a bunch of money for people to come and kill the Jews. That's what Haman proposes, you know? I'll tell you, it's tough being a Jew. Make one mistake. Don't bow to the one guy. You know what I mean? They lose it. They lose it. Haman. That it's open season on Jews. And not only that, but if you perform violence against Jews, you're going to get all the hits on TikTok. You're going to get everything you need. Was given in Shushan, and Haman sat down to drink at the banquet, which was still going on. Now, when Mordecai found out about the writ that was going out to the kings, he put on clothes and a sackcloth, and if you've ever worn a sackcloth, they're not terribly comfortable. And he also put on ashes. And he went out to the city and he cried with a loud and bitter cry. He went to the king's gate. And there he stayed. And he fasted and he wept and he lamented. At this point, Esther gets word that her uncle is wearing a sackcloth and ashes. So Esther talks to Mordecai, and he lets her know what's going on, and he says, listen, you gotta go tell the king not to do this. And Esther said, well, there's a problem. If I go into the king's court unbidden, right, which is something you don't do, right, and he doesn't give me the nod, he has the golden scepter. If he gives her the nod, she's okay. She's gonna get the nod, she's gonna get treated just like Vashti got treated. So no one wants that, right? And Esther says, this is a scary thing. If Mordecai, if I do this, I could get whacked. But then Mordecai says to her, he says, do not imagine that you will escape the king's house from among all the Jews. If you remain silent at this time, relief, this is interesting, he says, guess what? Relief and rescue will still arrive to the Jewish people. And it won't be you who does it. And there's an important lesson to this. That if you want to get something done and get it done right, appeal to a woman's vanity. Then Esther says something. She says, all right, I'm going to do it, but I need you to get all the Jews together and tell them not to eat anything. If you've ever been around Jews who are hungry, that's a big ask. And she says, I'm going to go in front of the king, and if I die, I die. So Esther gets up in her finest garb and sets herself outside the king's chamber. And the king said, she's looking like a fashionista. Come on in, baby. And he says, what's bothering you? What concerns you? Anything you ask, even to half of the kingdom, it will be given to you. And Esther says, if it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come to the banquet. And they came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. There's a lot of banquets in this story, you know? realizes there's going to be a banquet in his honor. He thinks it's in his honor. His wife says, oh, that's great. Looks like your plan's going to work. We should build some gallows so we can get ready to put all the Jews up on the gallows. So they construct elaborate gallows in the city of Shushan. And in particular, our bad guy wants to hang one of our good guys, Mordecai, on it. The guy that wouldn't bow. Now that night, the king couldn't sleep, right? So he got up and he went to his book of Chronicles, and he opened it up, and he found the page where it had chronicled that our hero, Mordecai, had snitched on those two lousy guards that were trying to assassinate him. And it occurs to the king, you know, I never did actually do anything for that guy. He saved my life, right? I sure am being a heel right now. Right? Where's his banquet? You know what I mean? You're throwing everyone banquets, but not, you know, your guy here? Come on. So the banquet begins the next day, and Haman comes in to see the king. And the king asks Haman a question very clearly. He says, what should be done to a man who the king wishes to honor more than me? And our bad guy said to the king, thinking he's talking about Haman, right? He's like, honor me, right? And Haman said, a man whom the king wishes to honor, let them bring royal raiment, royal garbs that the king himself wore, and the horse that the king himself rode upon. And the royal crown should be placed on this person's head. And let the clothes and the horse be delivered into the hands of one of the king's most noble princes. And let them dress the man whom the king wishes to honor. Let him parade on the horse in the city square and announce before him, so shall be done to the man whom the king wishes to honor. Right? This is all Haman's fantasy. Yeah. So the king says to him, hurry, take the clothes that you said, the horse that you said, as you've spoken, and now I want you to do all that you just said to Mordecai the Jew. So then Haman took all that stuff, put it onto Mordecai, and grumbling the whole time, bitter as could be, Haman did this to our hero Mordecai. And the next day, after enduring that humiliation, he goes to the king's banquet and had him come before Queen Esther. And the king said, Queen Esther, what is your petition? You wanted this banquet. You wanted to ask me the big question. What's the big question? What's all the drama about, right? And she says, if I have found favor in your eyes, O king, and it pleases you, may my life be given me in my petition and my people in my request. For we have been sold. She's talking about the fact that Haman was giving money to anyone that wanted to kill Jews. I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. And now we have been sold for slaves and bondwomen. I would have kept silent, for the adversary has no consideration for the king's loss. For I am a Jew, and if this violence were to happen to me, whoever gave this decree cares not for you or your choices, O king. And King Mordecai. So then the king said to Queen Esther, who is this person? Where is he? Who would dare to take my queen away from me? And Esther said, an adversary and an enemy. And she then points to Haman, this evil man. And at that point, Haman started to freak out. And the king was furious, for he saw that evil was determined against him. And at this point, Haman fell back on a couch and fainted like a Victorian lady. And the king said, behold, hey, Haman, you remember those gallows you were building for the Jewish people, the ones you were going to hang them on? I have the perfect idea for you and your people right now. And so they did to Haman what they were planning to do to the Jews. But the story gets even better. The next part is pretty long, but I'll summarize it for you. The king says to our heroes, remember that decree where it was open season on the Jews? Remember that decree went out to all my people? Guess what? We're playing that one Uno card, reverse. It's open season on the enemies of the Jewish people. So the king opens up his armory and starts handing out swords, bows, arrows, and armor to the Jewish community in the 27 provinces. And he says to them, you know those people that were trying to kill you? Do whatever you want. The cops are going to look the other way. Haman! The rest of this starts getting deep dark. This is the part where we talk about what happens to the anti-Semites. And I invite you to read it if there's like a little sadistic bone in your body and you really want to see what happens. But the numbers get pretty high here. And you'll never guess what the king did after they were done. He hosted a banquet. We're getting pretty close to the part where we're talking about Haman's sons and what happens to them. Can probably use your imagination with regards to the gallows. This is real gallows humor. No, actual gallows humor. That joke needed a punchline. It's really true about anti-Semitism. Like, part of why we celebrate this is to recall that the evil that was plotted against the Jews was invariably cast back upon the person who did it, right? And it led to total ruin for them and for their families. I mean, has anyone ever picked up a history book? Have you seen what happens to empires and kingdoms when they start turning to anti-Semitism? It's never the start of anything good. And the thing is, the Jews end up surviving. But the kingdoms and civilizations don't. Right? Today, we're going to eat a cookie. And I hope that we actually eat many cookies. Hey! This cookie is called Haman Tashin. And it's shaped like a triangle in the shape of the hat that Haman famously wore on his head. And I think it's an important lesson, because what it really says is, if you're going to be an anti-Semite and you try to go after the Jewish people, not only are we going to survive, not only are you going to fail, we are going to turn your hat into a funny dessert, and then we're going to eat it for thousands of years. I think it's great that we get the last laugh. We get to be the ones pointing and be like, those people with their funny hats. A little bit of projection there, Jews. There's only 45 minutes left. Does anybody know why we call this holiday Purim? Well, I don't either, but it says right here. Is it because of gambling? Isn't that Hanukkah? She's a chronic gambler. She just wants to gamble.
They choose lots.
They choose lots.
Oh, it's the lottery. They chose lots. I missed that part of the story. Yeah, evidently there's some lot choosing here. This is what it means to be a Jew. Banquets and lotteries. Here's the part about why it's called Purim. If it makes sense to you, let me know. All right. came before the king and commanded through letters that this evil device that he had devised against the Jews return upon his own head and to destroy him and his family and his sons on the gallows. Therefore, they called these days Purim, after the name Pur. Therefore, because of all the words and this letter and what they saw concerning this matter and what had happened to them, the Jews ordained and took it upon themselves and their seeds, and put all those who join them that is not to be revoked to make these 2 days according to the script and according to the time. These days shall be remembered and celebrated throughout every generation, in every family, in every province, in every city, and these days of Purim shall not be revoked from amidst the Jews and their friends and communities, and their memory shall not cease from their children. And not only that, as a final line, the king sent another letter to all of the satrapies and states within his provinces and told them, after the Jews had beaten all their enemies, they made them celebrate this holiday as well. So they would never forget. The thing that's confusing a little bit is like Queen Esther. Mordecai tells you, like, listen, don't mention anyone that you're Jewish, right? Like, keep your head down. And there's a way in which Jews have to fit in and figure out how to fit in. You know what I mean? And I think it's like for us, it's like, go forth, accomplish, be a part of the world, and then at some point you'll be in a position to help your people. You know what I mean? Do we need some help here? Yeah. Let's get a little bit of help here. I'll hold it for you. We can't let it touch the floor. That's the rule. Yeah. I have another job now. And what's worse, I kind of spit when I talk, so I'm gonna have to go over here a little bit. I don't want to smear the ink, So many considerations. This is one of the only books of our people, by the way. This is a secular book. It never mentions the name of God anywhere in the book. It's very interesting, yeah. Purim is a secular holiday, so no one has to feel like you're being coerced into doing some form of weird Jew worship. It's fine, This is the only book in our Apocrypha, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that takes place outside the land of Israel. Yeah, it's the only one that does. It's also the only one for which we wear wacky costumes, Nice costume, good look over there, by the way, guys. Very nice. Yeah. We got the Queen and the King over there. We got our own Queen Esther. Yeah. And it's also a holiday of gift giving. Yeah, a holiday of gift giving, so I'm ready to accept any gifts that you guys want to give. I was only kidding about the extra 45 minutes, I swear. It's really not a very long book. And we're going to ask everybody to sign at the bottom line of this contract. Make sure you read every letter. Alright guys, this is the blessing that we're going to read at the end. The rose of Jacob thrilled with joy and exulted when they beheld Mordecai, garbed in royal blue. You have always been their salvation, their hope in every generation, to make known that all who place their hope in you shall not be put to shame, nor shall those who trust in you be disgraced forever. Cursed be Haman, who sought to destroy me. Blessed is Mordecai. Cursed be Zeresh, the wife of Haman, terrified me. Blessed be Esther, who interceded on my behalf. Cursed be all the wicked, blessed be all the righteous, and may Cardona also be remembered famously. Favorably. Next year when I do this, I'll know what Carbona And you sing it. This is the dance of Vashti. Now, will everybody please? I'm kidding. Thank you so much, but I'll do the dance of Vashti. This is the last part of the right? Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna roll this up, guys. Thank you for enjoying the long story of Purim. Hey, just a reminder, if you're 21 and over, go get some drinks at the bar. Donation only. We don't have any change. So if money's all you got, you want to drink, you don't do. Alright guys.
So actually my grandfather, may memory be a blessing, was born in Jerusalem in 1912. But prior to that, they came from Kurdistan, which is a region near Turkey and Iraq, northwestern Iraq.
Wait, now we're there. We're just a commodity.
Southeastern Turkey. And you know, it was there that I kind of became Orthodox and learned some of the rituals. And when I got back to Fairfield, we were living in Fairfield, we moved to Fairfield at some point, you know, trying to be an Orthodox Jew as a 14-year-old in Fairfield in the mid-90s was impossible. I mean, kosher food, no. All the sports activities, I was trying to merge with my fellow classmates. All the sports were on Friday evenings. So within no time, I left it CC in the drawer and left it in the drawer and really kind of embedded myself, assimilated myself with the broader community. And that was a real strength because no matter how much I assimilated, everyone knew I was a Jew. My name's Eitan Mizrahi. I couldn't hide it. I never wanted to hide it. It was something that I embraced and people appreciated about me. You know, there was some uniqueness, and people wanted to learn about my Judaism, you know, in the mid-90s in Fairfield. And then while I grew up as a college student at San Francisco State, I always kept one foot in the room as a Hebrew school teacher, as a B'nai Mitzvah teacher. Kind of always, even though I was rebelling against some of the constructs of Judaism, I was always embedded within the Jewish community, and the Jewish community was always very important in taking care of me as a young adult in college. You know, maybe I needed a couch, or maybe I needed a table, right? Like that's what you need when you're in college, when you're moving from apartment to apartment. And then I ended up in rural Connecticut, and I bought goats. I became a farmer, and I started making cheese out of late 20s. And that's when it kind of all crystallized around my spirituality and community and Judaism. And what I learned at the heart of Judaism, that there's two pillars. There's about being grateful and having awe. I feel like that's really the beauty of Judaism, is that it really highlights the opportunity to be amazed, to really just have some humility when you look out amongst your neighbors, the people, you look at a mountain, a sunset, you feel this sense of awe and then a connection to something that's greater than you, and therefore you become a little bit more humble and recognize that you're just a small piece of this great project that we call life. And then secondly, we have gratitude. I feel like gratitude is a very essential component for me as a Jew. And in our religion, we have many times where we have to make a blessing. After we go to the bathroom, when we drink wine, when we have bread, after a meal, our whole rituals around giving thanks and being grateful. And I think when you cultivate a sense of gratitude, that too allows you to connect to something larger than yourself. And for me, Judaism is about connecting to something larger than oneself and kind of knowing that you're just a part, as I said, part of a larger project, and that together we can uplift each other, and that we can support each other, and understand, like, we're only here for a short time, so we have to do our best, and Judaism is the guidebook. It's like you're going on vacation, and you need to know where to go, some recommendations. So Judaism has a long list of highlights, but where to stop off, where to do this, where to do that. So that's my 5 minutes.
Enjoy a wine and beer. We have a selection here that you're welcome to have a glass. It is a hosted bar. If you'd also like to make a donation to the museum, because I want you to know they are letting us use this space at no charge. So if you would like to leave something for the museum, that would also be greatly appreciated. Thank you. They made this possible.
And I am also accepting tips for my own personal benefit. I will dance the Vashti dance for that $1. No, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for Eitan Mizrahi. Our next speaker, I'm going to bring up Martin Gaywing to share a little bit about his stories and a little bit about what he's been through and his experience as a Jew. I'll let him speak for himself.
In 1970, which dates me, my mother was Orthodox, and all her friends were very happy and ecstatic as they could drive to synagogue because it's a secular holiday, and normally bar mitzvahs are held on a Saturday. That's the usual thing. So her friends would have had to walk to shul, some of which lived miles and miles away. The reason I was bar mitzvahed on a Sunday was there was a controversy at our conservative shul, and last minute we ended up resigning, and then we went back to my mother's Orthodox roots, went to an Orthodox synagogue, and I had to do the whole service from Aleph to Tet with very little preparation, which was very challenging at age 12 and 10 months, but it happened. I've always had a strong connection to Judaism, and I'm not so good at explaining my feelings or sharing my feelings, but I'll give some examples of how I've been connected as examples of how others can connect. And of course, how I've connected through the years has changed. I was raised initially Orthodox, then conservative, then Orthodox briefly for the bar mitzvah. Then in my teenage years, I connected through Habanim, a Jewish youth movement, which was quite socialistic and labor-minded and kibbutz-orientated. So after high school, I went to kibbutz and I stayed there for 2 years. And that gave me an opportunity to connect with friends and family. My uncle had immigrated to Israel in 1952, and I have 4 cousins there. And so I was able to fully immerse myself in Hebrew culture and Israeli kibbutz life. And towards the end of my stay, I was even dreaming in Hebrew. Something I occasionally still do. On my father's side, Dad left Austria in 1938 because of you-know-who, get out the grogger. To me, his name is worse than Haman, but never mind. My grandfather was told in 1938, after unification with Germany, that, Max, I have to put you into jail because you were making anti-Hitler remarks, and in the morning I'm going to release you, and I'm only going to tell you this. And the guy who was speaking was the chief of police of Leoben, Austria, my grandfather, Max's best friend, and he said, take your family, leave Austria. Austria is no longer for the Jews. So grandfather did the only thing he could after the family was interred in a Jewish ghetto in Vienna briefly. They got on a train to Italy. The family did a sigh of relief when they left the border from Austria. They thought they were safe. They got on a ship to Shanghai, China in 1938. They lived in pretty bad conditions, which went from bad to worse, as the Japanese, who were allied with the Germans, occupied China and forced the Jews into a ghetto. But they were allowed to work, they were allowed to live. It wasn't like Nazi Europe, so they did survive. And then in 1948, my father and his family were able to come to America, to the San Francisco Bay Area. Mother was raised Orthodox, so when my father met mother, that kind of ruled the day, so to speak. But my beginning life, as I mentioned, was Orthodox, conservative, and then really not affiliated with religion in my teenage years. It was the 1970s in San Francisco, after all. And then living in Israel, the connection was living in Israel and being part of the culture, secular Jewish culture, speaking Hebrew and living the Jewish life in a secular way. Coming back to the States, I went to college in San Francisco State. Like Eitan, I'm also a San Francisco native. When my mother was alive, I used to ask if she thought of herself as Jewish American or an American Jew. You know, when we talk about other groups of people, we say Asian American or African Americans. And for Jewish people, we tend to say Jewish Americans. But my mother thought of herself as an American Jew, and I like to think of myself as Jewish American. For reasons I can't totally explain, but I'm pretty connected to Israel. And a little more about my life in my 20s and 30s was really establishing a career. In my 40s, early 40s, divorced my first wife after we adopted a child. He was converted to Judaism. I raised him. I met Cheryl, who's around somewhere, president of our synagogue, and slowly got more and more involved in the synagogue, particularly after having 2 major surgeries about 15 years ago. That kind of shows you the light, so to speak. And now she's the president of our synagogue, and she and I lead services about half the time. So we're quite regular at synagogue life. My family, the Gaywins, are Kohanim. So this is the original gesture. Everyone here is now blessed.
Live long and prosper.
I've been able to trace my family back to Tarnopol, Poland, Western Ukraine, to about 1750 or so. Then there's a tiny little gap until we go to Aaron and his family. We do have the DNA marker, so I did do that check. And it's an oral tradition passed from father to son in ancient history, but confirmed by the DNA marker. And so the reason I tell everybody my history is just to mention all the various different ways that one can get connected to Judaism. Currently, after the events of October 7th, we're all going through difficult, challenging times, and that's a bit of an understatement. And we're each dealing with these things in our own unique ways. Personally, I'm a big believer in connecting and supporting each other and our Jewish institutions. There's not so many in Solano County. There's a lot of unaffiliated, even intermarried Jews and allies. Support your local Jewish institution and support each other.
And this is one of the oldest ones, actually. It's from 2008. It's called Mendocino Odyssey. It has nothing to do with being Jewish.
I guess, kids are and youngsters are. I felt growing up, being in this area, it's just so mixed with all different kinds of races and cultures that I'm part of the minority, right? I'm part of the group of kids that are just different, right? And that they're here, you're almost, the minority is the majority, but so you feel included with everybody else. And just like anti-Semitism is so, in Israel, the demographic, I mean, it's people from so many different countries all over the world, from so many backgrounds, because we were forced to be in a world, forced to be everywhere else, and it's just how things got to be. Now we're so different, but we're all a Jew, right? We're all, doesn't matter your color, your skin, or where your family's from, but a Jew is a Jew to us, right? I think as being as a Jew, I mean, everybody has had a point in their lives where they're had to deal with some kind of form of anti-Semitism, and some of us have maybe even gotten in physical fights over it. I've been multiple times, and in my younger years, there was a time in high school where somebody was really giving my sister a hard time, and I decided to take it upon myself. And I got suspended from school. But I remember Mom, they have the meeting, right, where you bring the parent in and they come in and they explain it to you. And my mom was like, so what, So what? You punched him in the face, and it's one of the times I got home and I'm suspended from school, but I'm not in trouble, I guess there's a line somewhere where, where you're dealing with everybody else, especially as a youngster, high school, or whatever, where you can't let the little things kind of get you, right? You can be called Jew boy or the Jew or whatever, that's just the way things work, right? Not that it's okay, but I'm not going to fight every person that's telling me that, right? But when there's a line that's crossed, something's got to be said, right? But all in all, we are who we are, right?
I was born and raised in the Bay Area to a Mexican American family, and I'm going to read some poems on how I found out. The Jews of Spain were called Sephardi or Sephardic Jews, and that term is actually derived from the Hebrew word Sepharad, meaning Spain. This term also signifies Jews from Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula. Jewish presence in the Iberian Peninsula is actually believed to have started during the reign of King Solomon. The forced conversion and religious persecution of Jews started in 1391 in Spain and Portugal, and approximately 225,000 Jews were converted at that time. And then another for the day. Okay. I'm going to read some poems now, but I need my glasses. Okay, so this is my first poem, and I don't remember the name of it because I didn't write it down. In the United States, we're obsessed with skin color, origin, religion, black, white, Latino, Asian. The world requires definition, countries, boundaries, ingredients, labels. Middle Eastern, Jewish, Christian, Palestinian, Russian, Ukrainian, North African, South African, kosher, halal, vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free. I get it. I've been asked, what are you, where are you from, so many times. I am sick of it. I'm obliged to answer rude if I don't. I'm 100% American. No one can figure out what I am, and they have to. They speak to me in languages I might recognize but don't understand. Portuguese, Greek, Arabic, Tagalog, Spanish, Russian. Yes, I speak some Spanish, but English is my language. At Burning Man, a woman asked me about being Native American. In England, they thought I was Arab or Middle Eastern. In France, I was Spanish. In Hawaii, I was Hawaiian. In India, I was actually American for once. I was right there. Of course, I was in southern India. In America, I'm olive, tan, exotic. Where are you from? Haunts, tortures, follows me. I answer it differently every time. I'm American, Californian, from Silicon Valley, San Francisco, of Mexican descent, mixed, European and indigenous, Mexican American, and the new one that I thought of today was American Mexican, Latina, Mexican Jew. Depends on who's asking and how polite or insistent they are. At a synagogue, a woman asked, why would you want to recognize your Jewish heritage? It's a difficult time to be Jewish. I don't have an accent, but people expect it, or they make it up. Once I answered, I'm from San Jose. The white woman from Marin said, San Jose, Costa Rica? No, I am from San Jose, the land of the lowriders. San Jose, California. The other day I said I was Mexican and a woman corrected me. You don't look Indian, you look Spanish. People need their labels. If I say I'm a Mexican Jew, it's a puzzle, a term that practically does not exist. The long version, French, Jew, Spanish, Portuguese, Basque, indigenous Mexican, born in USA, or Iberian and Native American from Mexico. I am all of that. Yes, I am. It's tiring, it's complicated. I need to do a dissertation. Thank you.
Solos. I think it's very appropriate to do this. All right, you gotta get close with your friends here. Here we go. Okay, big groove now, and then we're gonna break down for them, okay? This is, there are a lot of musicians that say the most important thing is to use space when you're playing. These kids, obviously, they're way ahead of the game on this. Okay? So, you ready? Come on. You might want to come closer to the microphone so they can hear you. Go. Here we go. Perfect. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Percussion right now, so I think this is an appropriate. Your turn. טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב What is it? Da 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 הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב What is it? Da 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד מה טוב
children, so it shows you where her head is at. She doesn't want the glory.
They can't vote for you yet.
Why don't you talk to them? Anyway, thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful cultural event. You know, we have so many wonderful events here in Vallejo, and this is the first time I can honestly say that I've attended a amazing cultural event sharing the stories of this wonderful people of thousands of years, and I couldn't be more excited to listen to this wonderful music on the buliaki or whatever.
The buliaki, get out of here! You anti-Semite, get out of here!
But anyway, I love my community, I love you people, and mazel tov and shalom.
Hey, I also want to ask Pippin that you come up here too, longtime friend of the Jewish community. I thought I saw Miss Pippin in here earlier. Miss Pippin, you want to come up and have a quick word? No? Okay, that's fine.
The opportunity. It is just so exciting to be here today celebrating with all of you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to say thank you for having us.
I want to tell you, this is #1 on CMJ. Now CMJ, it may not mean anything to you, but if you're in the radio world, CMJ is the network of college radio all across the United States and also Canada. And this almost was all in Hebrew, this album, so it kind of came up as a surprise to me when this came out. So I'd like to share this song with you. It's a song of unification. It's simply called Shalom, and it goes like this. wasn't one drop. It sounded kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. Go! Okay, third one. Shanti. Shanti. Okay, you hear me say Om Shanti. Everyone thinks it's some deeply spiritual thing. Truth is, I just needed another syllable. Someone said put Om in front of it. Believe me, people will get it. So I said, okay, great. So anyway, we got Shalom. Salam. Kozen Rufu. Om Shanti. Goes like this. Let's have the thing here. Shalom. Salam. Kozen Rufu. Why can't it be now? Why can't it be today? You got it this time? Why can't it be now? Why can't it be today? Why can't it be now? Why can't it be today? You got it? What is it? Why can't it be now? Why can't it be today? Shalom, salam, shalom, salam, shanti. Shalom, salam, goes the roof of Shanti. Okay, just you. One more time, just you. Yeah, man. It's a very subtle instrument, the balloon. And his, you can tell, he's one of those blues musicians. Yisrael Chai Yisrael Chai Am Yisrael Chai Am Yisrael Chai Am Mamash todah. Thank you very, very much. And one thing, if you'd like to join me if everybody's into it, I know like everyone's probably been here for a while and getting tired. But if you'd like to join me, we could do a little hatikva. Would you like that? So why don't you come up here and get nice and close? I hope so very soon. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention this. I didn't really have a whole thing set up here, really. I just wanted to come and play. But for those of you that are interested, I've got some Rebbe Soul CDs and download cards and things like that. So if you just come and see me, you know, I got them in my cake bag over here. Thank you so much. Really.
This is a perfect end to a perfect exhibit. 3 weeks, our big Purim closing tonight. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for participating so fully. Please, take some food home. We have lots extra. Please take some food home. And Shalom Bayit. Some things that bear repeating, and that is, this event would not have happened without Mrs. Gari Sawande, who said, I want to do an art event focusing on the beauty of a people, and we want to do one on the Jewish people.
Yep.
And what happened was, the community just responded in a huge way. Chabad, B'nai Israel, Thoreau University, all of the grassroots people around here, D.L. Lang, our poet, former poet laureate. It's too many to mention, honestly. They're all in the program. Please be sure you have a program before you leave. But this never would have happened. This was truly a community endeavor. So thank you, Mrs. Kari, for being the seed that made this happen.
Amen.
Matthew and Susan. Lots of work spearheading and bringing us all together. So, thank you, Matthew and Susan.
Hey, thank you for being here. That's beautiful. You're such a sweetheart.